For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. Romans 1:20. Have you ever looked around and felt that this world is too precise, too personal, too powerful to be random? That somewhere, deep in the wind that brushes your skin, in the eyes of a lion, in the wingspan of an eagle, something is speaking? That is not imagination. That is revelation. Chosen one, you have been surrounded by codes from heaven. But the enemy trained you to see them as coincidence, to dismiss them as dreams, to ignore what your spirit already knows. You were never meant to blend in with the world. You were meant to awaken it, and heaven has been trying to wake you up. From the day of your birth, the Father has embedded signs into your journey. Not vague symbols, but divine fingerprints, whispers in the wilderness, patterns in your pain, dreams that won't die. And among those signs, there is one the enemy fears most, the power animal. Not a superstition, not a myth, but a prophetic archetype assigned to your life as both mirror and weapon. You see, the power animal isn't just about identity, it's about spiritual authority. The enemy knew this. That's why he tried to discredit it, to mock it with counterfeit rituals, to bury it in folklore and fantasy. Because if you ever discover what it really means, if you ever understand the spiritual force tied to your animal essence, if you ever align with the heavenly archetype tied to your calling, hell's plan collapses. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6. But you're not going to perish because something inside you is waking up, something ancient, something encoded into your bloodline before your name was ever spoken. This is not just another teaching. This is a spiritual unlocking, a call back to the garden, where man walked in complete unity with the creatures of creation, where Adam didn't just name the animals, he understood their purpose, where lion and lamb weren't enemies. They were reflections. Somewhere in your journey, an animal has followed you, in your dreams, in the stories that captured you as a child, in the moments when fear surrounded you and you didn't know why, but strength stirred in your belly anyway. That wasn't your imagination, that was your inheritance. Chosen one, your spirit has been tracking the signs. You've seen the same animal appear again and again, in dreams, on screens, in moments so specific they defy logic. And yet, you've doubted it, because the world taught you to fear the things that don't make sense. But in the kingdom, what doesn't make sense to the mind makes perfect sense to the spirit. God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. 1 Corinthians 1:27. Let me be clear, this isn't about spirit animals and pagan rituals. This is about divine assignments encoded in creation. Spiritual archetypes sent to walk with the chosen, to awaken the beast in your bones and the light in your lungs. The eagle, the lion, the ox, the lamb, the bear, the dove. They're not just animals. They're heavenly blueprints, and you, chosen one, carry one of them. It's time to remember who you are and to recognize what's been walking beside you all along. The power animal was never meant to make you mystical. It was meant to make you dangerous. Because when you stop dismissing the signs and start discerning the symbols, you will rise with the force of what's been buried inside you all along. This is your divine case file. The scroll is being unsealed, the courtroom is open, and heaven is about to reveal what hell hoped you would never find. The spiritual origin of the chosen one. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1:5. Before your eyes opened on earth, heaven had already seen you, not as a mistake, not as a wandering soul hoping to be chosen, but as one already marked. Before you cried your first tear, before they gave you a name, before the trauma, the silence, the rejection, God had already spoken over your spirit. He didn't just create you, He commissioned you. There was a moment in eternity when heaven looked at the landscape of the last days and said, "This generation needs someone born of fire, clothed in authority, and fluent in the language of signs." And your soul answered, "Send me." You were not born into randomness. You were born into a warfare timeline, encoded with spiritual DNA that terrifies the darkness. And that's why the enemy came so early. Not because of your weakness, but because of your marking. From a young age, things felt heavier. You cried without knowing why. You saw what others ignored. You sensed things before they were spoken. And without even trying, certain animals, symbols, sounds, and patterns followed you. This is not mythology. This is memory, spiritual memory. You were born marked by heaven and feared by hell. You are not just someone who experiences symbols. You are someone whose spirit generates them. Because when God marked you, He didn't just give you an identity. He gave you a spiritual ecosystem to walk in. He gave you the vision of the eagle, the heart of the lion, the endurance of the ox, the wisdom of the serpent with the gentleness of a dove. These are not metaphors. These are assigned archetypes, divine blueprints that move with you, sleep beside you, cry when you cry, and rise when your soul prays in groanings too deep for words. Then I looked, and behold, a storm wind was coming from the north, and within it were 4 living creatures. Each had the face of a lion, the face of a man, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. Ezekiel 1:4-10. The prophet Ezekiel didn't imagine those faces. He saw what was spiritually assigned to men and women of destiny. And you, chosen one, are part of that order. Your life carries an animal face in the spirit, not to glorify creation, but to manifest the power of the Creator through a language the spirit realm understands. That's why the enemy hates you. That's why you've been misunderstood, misused, and mislabeled. Because your soul operates with codes that religion couldn't teach and the natural world can't comprehend. You were not made for shallow waters. You were made to run with the beasts of heaven, just like David, overlooked in the field but armed with the lion's courage. Just like Joseph, carrying dreams too wild for those who lived in logic. Just like Esther, quiet on the outside, but moving with the stealth of a lioness ready to shift a nation. You weren't called to blend in. You were called to bear the image of heaven's design. And for some of you, where that design is roaring, you've heard it in dreams. You've seen it in images that strike your soul. You've felt it when a creature locked eyes with you and something sacred stirred inside your chest. The righteous are as bold as a lion. Proverbs 28:1. But this is deeper than boldness. This is about alignment. Your power animal isn't just a symbol of your personality. It is a reflection of your heavenly assignment. Some of you carry the eagle because you were born to see higher than others. Some of you carry the deer because your mission requires grace in hostile terrain. Some of you carry the wolf because you're not meant to run alone, but lead a remnant. And once you identify what heaven encoded in you, you stop apologizing for how you move. You stop explaining why you feel more, see more, and break down under atmospheres others ignore. Because now you understand you were born this way on purpose. You are not random. You are not overly sensitive. You are not too much. You are a divine archetype wrapped in flesh, walking with fire in your bones. Heaven did not just send you. Heaven formed you for this. The counsel of darkness, spiritual opposition. The Spirit of God made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Job 33:4. For too long the enemy has stolen what heaven designed. He twisted spiritual symbols into superstition. He painted sacred signs with counterfeit colors. He took what was divine intelligence and whispered, "It's just mysticism." But not anymore. Today, child of God, the veil is being torn. The deception is being exposed. Because what you've seen in your dreams, what's followed you through life, what stirred your heart since childhood, was never demonic. It was divinely assigned. The power animal, or more accurately, the spiritual archetype, is not New Age. It is ancient prophecy. It is the language of heaven hidden in the patterns of nature, a system of divine communication that the enemy has tried to bury because he knows. Once you understand what you carry, you become unstoppable. But ask the animals and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, which of these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? Job 12:7-9. The creatures of earth are not just biology, they are messages. Each animal holds a frequency, a divine assignment, a prophetic image, not just for survival, but for spiritual partnership. When heaven marked you, it didn't just give you a name, it encoded you with spiritual resonance. That's why certain animals call to you. Not all, not any, but specific ones. Because they mirror what you carry. They reflect what was placed in your spirit long before you ever had words for it. They reflect the spiritual forces God intends to activate through you. Let me say this plainly. These animals are not idols. They are icons, living parables. They don't replace God. They reveal Him. The eagle doesn't take God's place. It reflects His vision. The lion doesn't replace your king. It reveals your courage. The ox is not your source. It embodies your burden-bearing endurance. The dove is not a comforter. It's a signal of peace that your spirit carries into war zones. The enemy has mocked this truth long enough. But now, chosen one, you must understand. These animal archetypes aren't random. They're reconnaissance. They were given to you to navigate hostile environments, survive spiritual ambushes, decode divine timing, break through emotional stagnation, identify your kingdom assignment. The righteous care for the needs of their animals. Proverbs 12:10. What if that verse isn't just about pets? What if it's about caring for the creature within? The side of you that's been neglected because culture told you not to feel too much, dream too big, or sense too deeply. The truth is, you've been followed your whole life, not just by angels, but by archetypes. Heaven encoded them in your atmosphere because they carry what you need. The serpent teaches you how to sense movement beneath the surface. The lion reminds you to roar when you've been silent too long. The deer teaches you how to navigate spiritual landmines with grace. The bear shows you when to fight and when to hibernate. These are not mood swings. These are mantles. The chosen do not follow trends. They follow signs. And right now your signs are speaking. The animal within is not wild. It is warring. It is your spiritual mirror and your battle gear. This is why the darkness hates you. Because you walk with coded companions. Because you don't just speak in tongues. You move in patterns the enemy can't predict. There's a reason your discernment is tied to your senses. Because your power animal doesn't just speak to your mind, it moves through your instinct. When you align with your spiritual archetype, you walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. You carry clarity into chaos. You ignite faith in the fearful. And you walk like someone who remembers who they are. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Isaiah 40:31. The eagle wasn't just a metaphor, it was a model. And now, child of God, the time has come to stop denying what heaven has shown you, to stop questioning what your spirit has already confirmed. Your spiritual archetype is not just a figure, it is your frequency, and it's time to align. The silence of heaven, I am a foreigner to my own family, a stranger to my own mother's children, for zeal for your house consumes me. Psalm 69, 8-9. There's a kind of silence that doesn't come from heaven being absent. It comes from you being different. A silence that sits beside you at dinner tables. A silence that lingers when you walk into rooms and feel disconnected, though no one has said a word. You are present, but misunderstood. You're trying to explain spiritual patterns to people who only hear in flesh. You're trying to roar in a place that demands you whisper, and they look at you like you're too much, too deep, too intense. But they don't know that something ancient is stirring inside you, something wild, sacred, and holy. You're not broken. You're not confused. You're carrying something they weren't built to understand. This is the pain of the chosen. You're awakening to your divine frequency, but the world is still tuned to noise. And that silence you feel, that ache, that pressure, that's not punishment, that's preparation. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of suffering and familiar with pain, like one from whom people hide their faces. Isaiah 53:3. Even Jesus, the Word in flesh, walked in spiritual silence, misread, mocked, misunderstood, because the language of heaven sounds like confusion to ears that aren't open. When your spirit starts to align with your archetype, your power animal, something begins to break in the natural. People fall away, crowds grow quiet, even friends look at you sideways, because you're moving in a way they've never seen. You're not the same anymore, because your animal is waking up. Your walk changes. Your intuition sharpens. You sense things no one else sees. You're uncomfortable in shallow conversations. You feel things before they happen. And when you speak it, they say, you're imagining things, but you're not. God speaks again and again, though people do not recognize it. He speaks in dreams, in visions of the night. Job 33:14-15. You're not imagining it. You're hearing whispers from eternity. But the people around you have cotton in their spiritual ears, and you've stopped trying to translate the divine for ears trained by doubt. That's the conspiracy of silence. Not that God isn't speaking, but that He's speaking to you in a way that forces you to trust your inner knowing. This silence isn't empty. It's strategic. Heaven isn't trying to isolate you. It's trying to identify you, to separate your frequency from the crowds, to turn down the noise so you can finally hear the roar inside. And that roar, that's the archetype. That's the lion. That's the eagle. That's the wolf. That's the serpent. That's the dove. Each of them buried in your bones, waiting for the silence to unlock the instinct. Deep calls to deep in the roar of your waterfalls. Psalm 42:7. This isn't depression. This isn't confusion. This is deep calling to deep. This is heaven reducing the distractions so your spiritual senses can finally activate. So yes, you felt alone, but you were never abandoned. You were being aligned. You weren't created to move like them. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to walk like a living parable of the beast and the prophet joined together. You were made to wear your roar, to carry your wings, to lead with your howl, to pierce through darkness with your stare. You were made for the silence, because only in the stillness could you hear what was always inside you. You're not too much. You're just in tune with something they can't hear yet, but heaven hears, creation hears, and now it's your turn to listen too. The law of return activates. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people, then He opens the ears of men and seals their instruction. Job 33:15-16. Chosen one, when your eyes close at night, Heaven opens its scrolls, and in that sacred space between waking and sleep, God begins to speak in images, not always with words, but through symbols, through animals. Have you noticed? The same creature visiting your dreams over and over. A specific animal showing up in your life, in videos and songs, in the street, even in conversations with strangers. That is not chance. That is code. These signs are heaven's way of guiding the marked. Because when you're chosen, God doesn't just give you direction, He gives you language. And for the chosen, that language is often prophetic repetition. The wolf that shows up every time you feel isolated. The eagle that flies across your mind when you're praying for clarity. The lion that roars in your dream right before breakthrough. The serpent that appears when you're being spiritually attacked. These are not hallucinations. These are holy instructions. God has spoken once, twice I have heard this. That power belongs to God. Psalm 62:11. Twice I have heard this. That's what dreams do. They echo, they repeat, they return until you pay attention. Because God is not trying to confuse you, He's trying to awaken you. And when the chosen one begins to wake up to the messages hidden in the animals around them, everything begins to shift. Let me tell you why. Each animal you see again and again is tied to an archetype in your spirit. It is a reflection of something heaven placed inside you, a divine attribute, a weapon, a warning, a whisper. The eagle means vision and elevation. The lion means leadership and righteous confrontation. The bear means unshakable strength and spiritual ferocity. The deer means grace in the wilderness. The owl means divine intelligence in dark places. The horse means quiet endurance under heavy calling. These are not fantasy traits. They are your heavenly inventory. They are what's been placed in you by God for your journey. And when these animals come, they are not just visiting, they are returning to activate what's already inside you. This is the law of return. What was sent from heaven returns to the one it was sent for. So when you keep seeing the same animal, when it haunts your dreams, when it shows up in images, paintings, conversation, unexpectedly, heaven is returning the tool for this season because your calling is not generic, your warfare is not random, and your signs are not general. They are targeted, precise, timely, divine. He makes known the end from the beginning, saying, "My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please." Isaiah 46:10. You are being trained by symbolism because the enemy attacks with deception, but God teaches with discernment. The animal that keeps appearing to you is not just a symbol, it's a reminder of your assignment. It's the visible mirror of your invisible nature. And the reason the signs won't stop is because heaven won't let you miss this moment. You are being called deeper. You are being called higher. You are being summoned into full alignment with what you were born to carry. And your animal, your dream, that symbol on repeat, it's heaven knocking. Don't dismiss the code. Don't ignore the pattern. Don't silence what God is speaking just because the world doesn't understand how He speaks. He's been talking all along. Now it's time for you to respond. The heavenly courtroom. The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Job 33:4. It's not enough to see the sign, not enough to hear the whisper, not even enough to recognize the animal. Now it's time to activate. Chosen one. This is the moment where the courtroom of heaven doesn't just show you your scroll, it places the mantle on your shoulders. Because once you know what God placed in you, you have a responsibility to walk in it. The power animal, the divine archetype inside your spirit, is God's own DNA encoded in symbolic form. It's the facet of His nature that He entrusted to you, and heaven is waiting for it to be unleashed. This is not imagination. This is impartation. And now the Spirit says, stir the animal within. Therefore I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you. 2 Timothy 1:6. Step 1. Holy recognition. Ask yourself this: what animal has never left you alone? What creature has followed you in visions and dreams in the strange yet sacred corners of your imagination? That animal isn't random, it's resonance. It carries the traits your mission demands, and your soul already bears. When you name it, not in fantasy, but in faith, you begin the process of alignment. Don't be afraid to say it out loud. I walk with the eagle. I was born to see above chaos. I move with the lion. I carry leadership through the fire. I run with the wolf. I guard the remnant and call the scattered. I endure with the ox. I break the hard ground. I pierce with the serpent. I bring discernment where deception thrives. This is not idolatry. This is identity. It's not about worshiping the creature. It's about walking with the Creator's code. Step 2. Prophetic visualization. Close your eyes not to escape, but to enter. Imagine the animal heaven gave you standing before you. Not tame, not weak, not symbolic, but blazing with spiritual fire, fierce, focused, anointed. Now step toward it. Don't bow, merge. Feel its breath in your lungs. Feel its feet beneath your stride. Feel its eyes become your vision. You are not taking on something new. You are remembering what's been there from the beginning. I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Psalm 16:8. You are not alone in your body. You walk with assignment, with animal, with authority. This is the divine fusion the enemy fears. Because a Christian who knows Scripture is powerful, but a chosen one who activates their archetype is unpredictable. Step 3. Anointed prayer of activation. Now speak it aloud. Let heaven hear it. Let hell fear it. Lord, I awaken what you have encoded in me. Let the spirit of the eagle rise. Let the roar of the lion sound. Let the endurance of the ox burn through my bones. Let the grace of the deer lead my steps. Let the instincts of heaven come alive within me. I declare, I am not just called, I am carried by fire, by animal, by spirit. I walk in my archetype, in Jesus' name. Now pause, listen. Something has shifted. You're not just feeling something. You've stepped into something. You've moved from theory to throne room, from sign to scroll. The King has brought me into his chambers. Song of Songs 1:4. The chamber has opened. The gavel has dropped. The divine animal is active. And now everything changes. Restoration and public honor. But you be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. 2 Chronicles 15:7. Now that the divine archetype has been awakened within you, heaven expects you to walk in it. Not just when you pray, not just in silence or dreams, but in every room you enter, in every battle you face, in every assignment you step into. You were never meant to activate your spiritual animal and keep it hidden. You were meant to wear it in the open, because your alignment is what announces your authority. The creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Romans 8:19. Revealed, not concealed, not half expressed. Revealed in full archetypal glory. You are not just a believer. You are a beast of light, a vessel of divine traits that heaven wants the earth to see. So what does this look like? Let me show you. If your archetype is the eagle, you carry high vision. Stop lowering your eyes to fit others' fear. You see what others miss. Prophetic timing, atmospheric shifts, spiritual threats coming from afar. When others react, you respond. You fly above offense. You rise above noise. You don't flap, you soar. In meetings, in warfare, in decision-making. Ask what the eagle sees. If your archetype is the lion, you carry boldness and royalty. You walk into places where fear silences others, and you speak, not in pride, but in power. Your voice shakes rooms. Your presence convicts. You were not born to play small. When injustice appears, you roar. When chaos erupts, you lead. You defend the weak and confront the strong. If your archetype is the wolf, you are a remnant leader, built for tribe and territory. You don't chase crowds, you call out a pack. You sense when something is wrong, and you are not afraid to howl in warning. You protect what is sacred. You walk the edge between wildness and wisdom. The wolf in you knows how to endure isolation without losing loyalty. If your archetype is the ox, you are the foundation layer, the plow pusher, the one who breaks hard ground while others are sleeping. You carry strength not everyone notices, but heaven sees it and hell fears it. When others collapse, you keep walking. When others celebrate, you stay low. Your reward is not applause, it's impact. If your archetype is the deer, you are a spiritual whisper in a world of screams. You don't move fast, you move accurately. You know how to survive hostile terrain with beauty, grace, and speed. You hear what others miss. You move when others freeze, and you carry the kind of purity that convicts without speaking a word. Wherever you go, chosen one, you must ask, what would my archetype do in this moment? Because this is no longer about survival. This is about function. You've been restored in secret, and now God is saying, wear the mantle in public. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Psalm 23:5. This is your moment of public honor, because what you walk in now is unmistakable. People won't always understand it, but they'll feel it. The lion's stare, the eagle's poise, the wolf's loyalty, the ox's silence, the deer's discernment. It will confront them, heal them, provoke them, and in some cases, drive them away. And that's okay, because you weren't born to be understood by the masses. You were born to be anointed for a mission. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just finally walking in everything. So do it without fear. Do it without shrinking. Do it like you've already been approved, because you have. The courtroom of heaven has ruled. You are chosen, you are marked, and now you are armed. Walk like it. A greater mission revealed. Each of them had 4 faces, a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle. Ezekiel 1:10. You were never meant to carry only one form, because your mission isn't small, and your seasons aren't simple. Chosen one, your spiritual archetype may begin with a roar, but it will not end there, because heaven is fluid, and so are you. Ezekiel didn't see a creature with just one face. He saw 4, all present, all active, all divine. The man, your humanity, your compassion. The lion, your courage, your authority. The ox, your endurance, your strength in labor. The eagle, your elevation, your prophetic vision. You are not a single image. You are a living wheel, a divine transformer, a carrier of shifting mantles. What guided you last season may not be what you need now. What got you through the valley will not get you across the battlefield. God is not just giving you one archetype. He is giving you access to multiple assignments, each encoded in different creatures of light. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Seasonal shifts. Why your animal changes. Sometimes the eagle is needed to soar, to see, to stay above it. Other times the lion must rise, to roar, to confront, to lead the charge. But then there are wilderness seasons, where the deer takes over, graceful, quiet, navigating danger with agility, not force. And in spiritual winters, the bear may be activated, teaching you how to hibernate with wisdom, store spiritual nutrition, and wait without dying. You must discern your current phase. You must ask, what version of me is heaven requiring in this season? This is not confusion, it is consecration. God is not changing your identity, He's evolving your function. The enemy will try to trap you in a past archetype. He'll say, you're a lion, so why are you quiet now? You're a wolf, so why are you walking alone? Because he fears you'll realize the truth. You are multidimensional in the spirit. You don't need to force your old face to fit your new battle. You need to let the spirit shift you. Wherever the spirit would go, they went, and the wheels rose along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Ezekiel 1:20. The same spirit that gave you your first spiritual archetype is now moving you into a new frequency. Let it rise. Don't mourn the eagle if you're called to be an ox today. Don't force the lion if the serpent's discernment is what's needed now. You are called to carry heaven's shape, whatever form that takes. Example, Jesus himself. Even Jesus walked in changing archetypes. As the lamb, he was silent before his accusers. As the lion, he overturned tables in the temple. As the serpent, he told the disciples to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. As the eagle, he prophesied the future from the Mount of Olives. As the ox, he carried the weight of the cross without complaint. He shifted forms to fulfill function. And so will you. This is your evolution. This is your expansion. You are not changing who you are. You are unlocking what was always hidden within you. Now it's your turn to ask, Lord, which face should I wear today? Which creature speaks through me in this season? What spirit-born trait must rise now? Because heaven isn't done with you. It's just beginning to show you what else you carry. Personal testimony and invitation. You yourselves are our letter, written on our hearts, known and read by everyone. 2 Corinthians 3. 2, you used to search for signs. Now, you are one. You used to chase the symbol. Now, you carry it. Child of God, look again, not at your dreams, not at the visions, but at yourself. What you've endured, what you've overcome, what you've carried in silence. That is the face of the archetype. Your scars are not shame. They are the markings of the beast within, not wild, but witnessing. Heaven has not just given you an animal to guide you. He has made your life the scroll, your obedience the roar, your endurance the wings, your tears the scent that awakens the pack. You don't walk in symbolism anymore. You walk in substance. You've become a mirror of the divine, a reflection of the Creator through the creature He assigned to you. You are the lion when you speak with unshakable truth. You are the eagle when you lift others out of low places with clarity. You are the ox when you carry others' burdens and don't grow bitter. You are the serpent when you sense manipulation before it strikes. You are the deer when you comfort the broken with peace no one can explain. This is not fantasy. This is covenant. God didn't give you an animal because it was poetic. He gave it because it was prophetic. You were called to become what you beheld. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. John 1:14. Now the Word in you is becoming flesh. The archetype is no longer an idea. It is your walk. Your life is a sermon in motion. Your presence is a warning and a wonder. You don't need a stage. You don't need a microphone. You don't even need to speak. You simply need to live aligned, and the archetype will speak through your eyes. So I ask you now, what do people feel when you walk into the room? Do they feel the fire, the strength, the stillness? the clarity, the warning? They should. Because your walk was never just about you. It was about who was walking inside you. You are the message. And that's why the attacks came. That's why the enemy tried to get you to question your worth, to tone down your fire, to doubt the animal you've seen since childhood. Because the moment you believe it's real, you become unstoppable. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Habakkuk 2:14. Do you know what that looks like? It looks like you. Not because you're perfect, but because you finally said yes to the divine code inside you. So this is your invitation. Stop trying to be understood. Start being the wild, holy, obedient reflection you were born to be. Stop asking others for permission to carry what they've never seen before. You don't need approval. You are already appointed. And if they stare, if they whisper, if they walk away, let them. Because heaven is watching, creation is groaning, and the archetype in you is no longer sleeping. You are the roar, you are the wings, you are the answer. Final prophetic call. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. Psalm 91:1-4. This is not just the end of a message. This is the awakening of a warrior. Heaven is not whispering anymore. Heaven is summoning, and your spirit already knows it, because something inside you is on fire right now. You feel it in your bones. You feel it behind your eyes. You feel it rising in your chest. The roar, the wings, the presence of the creature within, ready to walk in the fullness of divine assignment. No more wondering, no more shrinking, no more apologizing for the fire you carry. It is time to say it loud, time to walk it out, time to let the beast burn holy through every step you take. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. Matthew 11:12. You are not weak. You are not confused. You are not overlooked. You are activated. This is your courtroom moment. The scroll is open. The mantle has descended. The animal has risen. And now heaven thunders over your life. You are chosen. You are marked. You are sent. So now stand up. Lift your head. Open your mouth. And make this your declaration. Declaration of alignment and warfare. I submit to the will of heaven. I align with the archetype assigned to me. I activate the roar, the wings, the wisdom, the endurance. I reject every lie, every label, every limitation. I walk in full authority. Lion, eagle, ox, serpent, dove. I am the message. I am the sign. I am the one hell hoped would never wake up. But I am awake now. I am aligned now. And I will never walk the same again. In the name of Jesus, let the animal rise. Let the wind blow. Let the fire fall. Let the heavens shake. Because one of the marked ones has said yes, and the earth will never recover from your obedience. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 61. You've waited for a word. You've begged for confirmation. You've asked for signs. This is that sign. And now it's your turn to respond. So say it in the open. Say it in the comments. Say it to the mirror. Say it to the air. I am chosen. I am aligned. I carry heaven's fire. Let it echo through your house. Let it shake the silence. Let it seal this word in your bones. Because the world has seen too many believers playing small. But now it will see what happens when one chosen one walks with their full archetype activated. Lion, eagle, ox, wolf, serpent, dove, fire, glory, truth. You. Welcome to the wildness of divine alignment. Welcome to the life you were always meant to live. Now go. Go with fire. Go with focus. Go with the animal inside you alive and in motion. This is not just a message. This is a marking. Heaven has called. You have answered. Now walk it out.